Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 28th day of February, 2019. Well, we are at the last day of the month, and it's not going to be leap year this year. So numerologically, we're looking at a 1, or new beginnings, which is nice. It's always nice to think that something new is about to happen, isn't it? Or that we can manifest something new today. That would be great. Tomorrow, being the 1st of March, will also be a 1 energy, so more new beginnings. So I guess it's really a double dose of it. Today's a Thursday, so if you're working magics, you can make use of Jupiter's expansive energy, but do know that the moon is in a waning phase, so magics of decrease are typically favored, although we'll have new moon energies on the 6th, which will be nice to work with as well. But that's not for a few more days, another week. Well, if you haven't been here before, welcome. I'd love you to click subscribe and come back. If you've been here before, thank you. Thank you for returning. Thank you for sticking with me on this as we explore tarot and rune interpretations together. I write a blog over at imsteppingaside.com called Stepping Aside. It's a witch blog, and you'll find other tarot and rune stuff there. You'll find a grimoire. You'll find a materia medica because I'm an herbalist. And I also drop cards on the floor too, so that's also what I do. Well, today's cards that I dropped, keep these in mind, 8 of Swords and 6 of Swords, so that's interesting. Both going to create, the 6 would be about moving toward maybe another type of thinking or another type of awareness, higher self-awareness. And the 8 of Swords is let's not get in the way of things. There's too many things coming in on us. But anyway, just keep that in mind. The rumor is that, if you drop a card, that's your card, but I don't know. Although I have actually then continued to shuffle and then pulled that card that I dropped. So, I mean, it can happen, But anyway, we woke up this morning. I don't think it really snowed so much overnight, and maybe we're done with that. But I've got at least 2 feet of snow out there. I have tree damage. I have one that's across my driveway, and it's resting on the top of my fence. And so my husband's going to have to cut that today if we expect to actually get out of the driveway. He's used the snowblower up our 800-foot driveway now twice. And so I'm pretty sure I can get the Camry out. And our neighbor called this morning and said that the snowplows did go by this morning. So the roads are clear. So we can get to town. We just can't get out of the driveway yet because of that tree. So he's going to go out there in a little while and do something about that, I guess. It was -2 this morning. So I think he's going to wait a little bit, I don't think it might get to 32 today, but that's not till late in the day. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to see anything. Even though the sun is finally out. Oh, it was so cool. I woke up this morning and I have my bedroom blinds open. And I like to look at the night when I go to sleep. And so I leave that one open. And I woke up this morning and to see the snow, and I saw the sun, and I saw a blue sky, which I haven't seen in like 4 days. And so I saw that, and there was a bird just outside the window and kind of jumping around, So I thought, well, that's a sign of better things to come. So then we have, today is a 1 numerology, so new beginnings. So maybe we do have some new beginnings, and we're going to have the end to this snowpocalypse that we've been experiencing here in Oregon. So that's not been fun. Well, I don't know so much on the valley side of the state, down the I-5 corridor where all the big cities are. Over here on the eastern side of the state, though, we're in central Oregon, but it's still considered the east side of the Cascades. That's where I think we got most of it. So, but I don't know. I haven't looked. South might have gotten it. Southern Oregon might have gotten it. I don't know. I haven't looked. I can't even see all of the damage yet that we have here. But at first, I was just thinking it was one tree, and then we discovered two more trees, and so I don't know. I'm not sure yet how much we have to, deal with when all of this is gone. But it happens from time to time. So either that, if it's not the snow, it's the wind. So Portland and the Valley area, they have to deal with freezing rain. And so they get what's called a silver thaw. And when we moved from Alaska, we moved to Portland. And Alaska is very different, lots of snow during the winter, but it's different. You come to Portland and it's ice, it's just solid ice. And it's just the weirdest thing, but it's just it's not like it doesn't fully commit to the snow, in other words. Although it does snow there, it just doesn't do like it did here. So anyway, let's get started and see what we have for today. I count to the 13th card and I draw that. That's just my process. It doesn't have to be yours. It's just something I do. Well, we have a 7 of Wands. So Wands is about our will. And here we're standing in our own power and we're defending, aren't we? He seems very prepared, though, doesn't he? He's keeping the rest of it all at bay, isn't he? So it's almost like he's got like a delicate balance going on. He can deal with what he's got coming in on him, but he's got to have the perspective. You see, he's higher up, isn't he? You've got to do it from a different perspective, kind of rising above it all and choosing your battles. 7 is about balance. It's about the shadow side of self. It's about blending the two, spirit and ego. Ego is known as really the shadow side of self. Less predictable than the spirit within should be, I suppose. But let me just double check if there's something that I've missed here or omitted. Yeah, bravery, small victory, but like I said, courage to meet obstacles, confrontation. Like there's been some kind of conflict here. But again, it's what I always feel when I look at this card is this, in a sense, you're rising above that conflict and you're getting a better perspective on things so that you can see where it's all coming from, and so you can deal with it effectively. And he just seems ready. It's like, don't test me, because I'm ready to go, and I will deal with whatever comes up. And so in this battle of wills, maybe we're experiencing a battle of wills with somebody in our lives, and you're done, and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna deal with this now, and y'all are gonna leave me alone. So whether this is just different situations that you're having to deal with in life, just get above them and get a different perspective and see, and then be able to pick your battles. But that's what this card reminds me of, is getting up above everything, getting a different perspective, and then choosing how best to proceed. So, but let's do another card. Well, an 8, so we're progressing numerologically here. 8 is about it's about leadership skills, it's about harmony, but it's about the greater aspects of harmony, not just like the 6 would be about you're recognizing, the higher self, you're recognizing that you're more than what you are and that there's others around you that you can interact with. 8 really brings that home, though. leadership skills, but leadership that recognizes the greater aspect of self and the value of all of that, the unity consciousness. You're really moving in that direction with an 8. And here we have the card Strength from the Major Arcana, the 8th card. And that's what you're talking about. Strength in unity consciousness, basically. Look at how the lion is just, I mean, she's commanding the lion, the wild within, with the purity of spirit. You can see the lemnis gate above her head. Illustrating the as above, so below nature of things, or the interrelationship between everything. Also, is never ending. It's the eternal integration in form of our wild with our civilized sense of self, I guess. But understanding that greater picture. So in terms of the 7 of Wands, then, you would want to, again, take your strength from, your greatest strength from being able to really perceive correctly, and invoke your will correctly, and not overreact and think that there's more here than there really is, more to react to than there really is. Be sure the danger is there. Be sure. And also the other thing that this also, you can see the different heights of the different wands down below him. You could also think in terms of different priorities, how to prioritize, to include that in your decision making regarding all of this. How to prioritize things. That's another thing that comes through. Let's do one more card. But where do we derive our strength? Do we derive it by oppression of others? Or do we derive it by the integrated sense of self, where we don't see the other, we see the brother instead, we see the family, we don't see someone as the enemy simply because they're different than us. And here, you have an animal versus a human, and yet they're getting along. So there's strength found in diversity, basically. And again, diversity can be thought to be here too, with the different spears in front of him, or staffs in front of him. They're at different heights, so that denotes a difference in terms of will. So there's different levels of will coming in on this guy that he has to deal with. I'm having trouble shuffling through my cards today. Well, this is just another willful day, isn't it? Here we have 7, 8, 9 in the progression. And here he is at the end of it all. Looking back, a little wounded, a little battle weary, hanging on to his staff, though. So either he's gotten it all in order, he's gotten it all worked out, he's moved past it, because you can see they're behind him now instead of in front of him. So he's moved past whatever difficulty, little battle weary for all of it, but still he's managed to remain, right? He's still standing. So either he's gotten everything in order that he needs it to, in the order he needs it to be, or because there's a sense of completion with the 9. And so what we have here is he's figured it out, and he's put everything in order. Either that, or he has more support than he realizes, one of the two. So either there's people that came to help him. It's just that I don't know that, looking at the look on his face, that's really what this is. He's just got this backward furtive glance, like, okay, is it really over? Have I really gotten it where I want it to go? But look at his face. So you see, I don't know that this means there's support behind him, but that he's gotten through something that was maybe a battle of wills or something. And it started here, And he used his balanced inner strength, his balanced spirit with ego, you know, to then come out victorious. So I guess the moral of the story then is, if in a battle of wills, allow spirit to inform the process, make sure it's your higher self that comes to the conversation instead of the ego that comes to the conversation, that comes to the table to deal with whatever this battle of wills is. Just make sure that if that's happening for you today in this life, that in your life, that maybe you just remember to allow higher self to take over the conversation so that you get through it. You know, time will tell if that's what happened in North Korea or if that isn't what happened. So, in any event, you know, you have to stand your ground and you have to not give away your integrity. You know, at the same time, standing your ground, I mean, can also indicate that you're just being stubborn and you're not listening. And so, in that sense, a battle of wills, you know, could indicate something that it's you that's doing it instead of someone else. But at the end of the day, it looks like we're going to find a resolution to whatever it is. But again, we have to allow for that balance within to drive our to, in other words, contain maybe our will a little bit so that we express ourselves in a way that conveys respect, not only self-respect, but respect for others people as well. So, well, that's interesting. Let's do a rune. Be cool if I drew Sewillow, wouldn't it? My process is not to draw the 13th rune like I do the 13th card. There's only 24 runes, so at least in the Elder Futhark. Other Futharks have different numbers. I think there's one that has 16. Is that the younger or something? I don't look at the other ones. I don't, you know, I like this one, and so this is the one I use. But I mean, I've looked at them. I just don't work with them. Although I do have the Ogham. I have crafted Ogham fuse and also Ogham staves. I've done those. I do like that. I don't work with it enough though to know it. But that's also an interesting druidic type of divination tool and also language, because you'll find not only runes inscribed on stone, you know, little stone standing stones. Not only will you find the runes inscribed on them, but you'll also find the Ogham language on there as well. That's the one where you've got like a line and then like little lines, or maybe one line or whatever. It's a different type of a language, different type of alphabet, and but it also is a divination tool. So, and I've also made several sets of those. Um, but honestly, I just work with the Elder Futhark mostly. So, anyway, I drew Vunyo, and Vunyo is the 8th rune of the Elder Futhark. Again, aligning with strength. Vunyo is about joy and the joy of alignment, really, in source presence. You know, if you live there, life gets a whole lot easier than if you're living in the ego as well. But we're humans, and so we have to strike a balance between the two. But Vunyo is about fellowship. It's the wish rune. It's about harmony and joy and contentment and contact with like-minded people. Probably not happening so much there, but when you are going to align and come to balance and strike an inner balance between spirit and ego, then basically you're going to do that using Vunyo to do that. So maybe in terms of your solutions in your battle of wills with somebody or a group of somebodies, in this case it's a group, maybe to get here, maybe the way you communicate to get there, how you resolve whatever this struggle is, this battle of wills has to do with, then you have to live in joy to do it. You have to manifest joy within that situation, not just simply stand in your power, although you're going to want to do that as well. But it's done in the spirit of joy so that we can come back and harmony, so that the outcome preserves harmony, right, between us. So it does indicate a positive, even though you can't really see that on his face. It's like whew, I dodged one there, you know. More like that. It's like, are we sure we're really done? You know, not really trusting, right? So we need to add a little bit of avunyo in there to help that process along. So if you're in that battle of wills with people, remember to include in your expression of will something that sends the message of harmony and working things out. So that's cool. Well, nobody likes conflict, but it does happen from time to time, and sometimes you have to stand up for yourself. And it's never fun. Nobody likes it. Well, some people do, but I don't. I don't like it at all. I always find that whenever I do, it's always about something that ends up being legal and in nature, and the people that I have to stand up to don't want to hear what I have to say because they're doing something that likely isn't. If it's legal, it's likely not ethical, you know? So whereas it might not rise to the level of a crime per se, or something that you might be able to sue somebody over and find some kind of legal judgment on, at the very minimum, it's something that's going to cause you to lose business over it. And that's usually where I find myself, where somebody in business has done something that I find appalling and is likely not legal. But you know, where do you want to put your time too? Do you want to stay in that, you know, or do you just simply want to move on? And typically I just move on. I may make I do make my position known, but then I typically just go find someplace else to be. So I don't tend to sue people. I'm just not really into that. Even though I'm a Libra, I'd rather resolve it by not having to go there, you know? I'd rather just resolve things because everybody figures out that that's what needs to happen. But that's just me. Sometimes you've got to stand your ground and you have to engage in that battle of wills. But it just seems like today, with what the cards and the rune are saying, is that if you have to do that, if you remain in joy, if you remain positive, if you have this quiet way of asserting yourself, and you express the desire to work everything out at the beginning of all of it. It's like, I'm here to work things out. I'm here to fix all of this. Let's just fix it all, get rid of it so we can get back to being friends again. That sort of attitude. If you start there, and just really watch how the will is manifesting, how it sounds coming out of your mouth, what is your energy like, if you can keep it as loving as possible amidst the discussions, then it looks like you're likely to have a positive outcome for it. So anyhow, that sounds pretty cool. Well, I guess that's all I have for today. I did put up I didn't do it last night. I was late. I don't know. The snow has just, I feel surrounded. Okay, there is so much snow out there, and it didn't happen over the course of time. It happened over the course of hours. So to have 2 feet of snow drop over the course of a couple of days really is nutty. And I don't know. The fact that I can't get out of my driveway, the fact that nobody came to plow us until the 4th day of this, no mail. I'm hoping there's mail today. We've not had any mail. I know I have bills coming and I need to pay them, you know. Tomorrow's the 1st. And so it's just felt so odd. So I haven't written. And I finally wrote this morning, and the moon moved last night at 10:49 p.m. here. And so I should have had it already up last night, and I didn't do it. So I got up early this morning, and I did the lunar transits. It's up on the blog, imsteppingaside.com. So I also put some pictures of the snow at the end of it, down at the bottom of it, to show you what the problem with my driveway mainly. But then there's a couple other pictures of some other down trees, and one that's just kind of, I don't know, through a really snowy place. Because my husband took the time to get the snow off the roof, it's all just on down here by the edge of the house, right? And so where I would normally walk, I can't. I mean, we can't even dig it out. We can't even use a snowblower on it because it's so deep. If I were to go down into it by the heat pump, we have a heat pump, and our little one of our, I have a freezer that's outside, a small one that's outside. I have one inside and one outside. It's, my husband can get to it. I could probably get to it. He's got an area cleared, but there's this much snow on top of the freezer, and so. But if I were to get down in there because of all the snow that he pushed off the roof, well, it might be up to my chin. It might, and I'm 5'6". So, I mean, it's at least up to here in that snow pile. So I can't even really get in there very easily. So it kind of tells you how much dumped in just a very short period of time. And hopefully the pictures, if you go check that out at imsteppingaside.com, you can see those pictures there. Also, I put some up on the Facebook page for Stepping Aside. Most of them are up on my personal one. So if you haven't friended me or something there, then you might not see those. I'm not really sure how that works, but if you set it to friends, then only friends see it or something. Anyhow, if you want to friend me, do that. If you want to see all of them, I didn't put them all up on the Stepping Aside page, but enough to give you guys an idea of what we're dealing with. And so with any luck, if Jerry gets which he will, he'll get that tree done and get that out of the way, then we'll likely head up to the store later today and just kind of take a look and see what the town looks like and everything. It's nice. I always like to do that, when something like this happens, just to see if everyone's doing okay, if what's happened. I do it after big windstorms, which are frequent here on the high desert. It's not uncommon to have 50-mile gusts here or even higher. So, in fact, we get little whirlwinds. We don't really get tornadoes here, although it can happen. I know it happened one time, not right here, but a little ways over from us. One went through. We get really big dust devils that are, they're small tornadoes. Basically, I was standing out by on my driveway out by the pasture, and I saw one. I saw, what is that coming toward me? And it was coming across my neighbor's field, and I just stood there. I thought, oh my God, I know what that is, and I want to be in the middle of it. So I stood there. I made sure I was in the center of this thing as it passed over me. But I got to tell you, it was just the coolest thing ever. And I'm in it, and it's going over me, and it's going over my pasture, and I'm watching it go on into the next pasture and all that. I've been around these things before. My husband's gone through them on motorcycles and whatnot, but I'll tell you what, I've never experienced anything like that in my life, and it was so cool. So, yes, I'm a dust devil junkie now. So I look for them, and I want to be in them. So anyway. It's probably not the safest thing to be in, but because it's still big wind and it's doing this and there's crap everywhere in it. So, I'm closing my eyes and everything so I don't get hurt. But yeah, it was interesting. My whole life. I'm 61, never experienced that before. So anyhow, check out the blog. Thanks so much for coming by, and we'll see. Let's see, this is Thursday, so I will see you on Monday. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.